Before using HubSpot, I was drowning in numbers without any stories. I would see 45 leads generated. 3 leads became customers. But I would have absolutely no idea what happened to those other 42 leads. Marketing dashboards might show you all of the metrics, but they don't tell you the full story. Today, I'll show you how HubSpot shows you the real people behind the numbers and how this changes everything. My name is Jasper. I'm a certified HubSpot consultant. Welcome back to 5 Minute Friday. So first of all, let's talk about the limitation of aggregate data, aggregate numbers, and why they only tell you half the story. First of all, we have lead counts without any journeys. What does that number tell us? I don't know. We also have conversion rates without any context. Why did that conversion rate increase or drop? And then we have failures without any explanations. A bunch of people that didn't convert, but what's the story behind those numbers? And there is a certain danger to optimizing just on those numbers without actually looking into those stories every now and then. The numbers eventually will tell you what happened, but people's journeys will tell you why it happens. That's very important. And that's why I want to talk about what I think is one of HubSpot's most underrated features. And that's when you go into a dashboard, you create a report, you see, for example, a number that shows you the number of leads generated from a specific campaign. You can click that number and you actually get a list of all of the people that make up that number. And it gets even better. You click on that name and you actually get the full timeline of every interaction that that person has had with your business. Now, why does this matter? It matters because it puts faces on those numbers. It allows you to do a deep dive and figure out what really happened and why. It transforms these abstract metrics into real people, creates an emotional connection to that data. And the key point here is that every marketing metric represents real people making real decisions. Now, I'll share a couple of screenshots while I'm telling this. You want to explore the journey every now and then. So you have this contact timeline in HubSpot whenever you open a contact, and you can see specific ads that they engaged with. You can see content that they consumed, marketing emails, downloadables. You can see conversations that they had with sales and with customer service. And you can also see the points where they stalled, where there's a gap, where they didn't interact with your business for a couple of days, couple of months. And then you want to open up a couple of contacts that are in the same bucket. For example, they didn't convert from a marketing qualified lead into eventually an opportunity. And you want to go through, like, let's say 5 of these timelines. And you want to try to spot any patterns that you see there. And at that point, you might be discovering that there's a certain email that causes this drop off, or that there's a misalignment in something that marketing is saying, but eventually the sales conversation tells a different story. This isn't just data. This is more like a documentary of your customer's experience. Now, of course, once we have learned about the story, we also want to turn these insights into action. Probably the most important part here. And I'll share some discoveries from timeline exploration. You might find that there's a misalignment between a certain ad, what that ad says, and then the landing page that a person lands on. You might identify some sales follow-up issues, or you might uncover gaps in the customer journey, missing information, for example. And then I would really recommend doing a regular journey check-in. Schedule it on your calendar, let's say every month or every quarter. You want to check on a couple of customers and you want to see what their experience is like. You want to see if there's like anything that seems off, anything that can be improved. And HubSpot tools really will help you to spot these patterns. When you truly understand the stories of your customers, you will be able to write a better end to that story. See what I did there? Now, I want to leave you with a challenge at the end of the video here. Take your biggest point of conversion drop-off and examine the timelines of at least 5 contacts who didn't convert. Look for any patterns and one specific thing that you could improve. If you do any surprising discoveries there, I would love for you to share them in the comments below. We can have a conversation about those. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye.